Welcome to the next video in the So You're Ready to Sue the Credit Bureau series. In this video, we'll talk about dispute results, when to expect them, what they mean, and what the next steps are. Hi, this is Consumer Protection Attorney Bill Clanton. I've helped thousands of consumers deal with inaccurate credit reporting, debt collection harassment, and other consumer-related matters. Now, before we get into this, the number one takeaway, the most important thing you can do with your dispute results is to hold on to them, save them, scan them as a PDF, keep them somewhere you can find them later. They'll become very important later on. Okay, so when should you expect your dispute results? Well, the law says the bureaus have to get back to you in 30 to 45 days. In my experience, this is pretty accurate. It usually takes 30 to 45 days for the bureaus to get back to you. Now, it can seem like kind of a black box, but here's what we know as to why it takes so long. The credit bureaus, within 5 days of receiving your dispute, and you know when they received it because you saw our last video, you have your certified mail number, and you can put that into USPS.com and find out when it was received. So you know when they received it, within 5 days of receiving it, the bureaus are required to send your disputes and your attachments to your disputes to the furnishers of the information that's disputed. So they've got your dispute within 5 days, the furnisher has it, and now the bureau and the furnisher are doing an investigation, each on their own, independently of one another. We know, and if you've seen some of my other videos, you know that the bureaus spend about 4.5 minutes on your dispute. That's no time at all. And it's part of the explanation as to why they get it wrong so often. But the furnishers, in my experience, and I suspect this is where most of the time is spent. The furnishers get the dispute, goes to their dispute department. The dispute department does an investigation, and these dispute departments are typically overloaded. They don't spend much time on it, maybe a little bit more than the bureaus, and they come to a result, and they give that information to the credit bureau. Credit bureau then gives that information to you and changes your credit. So that's what you get, is those dispute results that are a result of the bureau's investigation and the furnisher's investigation. Now, occasionally, a bureau will override a furnisher's determination, but not often. I've seen this happen a few times. You know what this is called? This is called parroting, when the bureau simply repeats what the furnisher says, even though you've given proof that the credit reporting information is inaccurate. So, parroting is a very common practice in the of the credit bureaus. You got the dispute set, and you're waiting for the dispute results. Sometimes they'll come faster than the 30 to 45 days. I've seen them come as quickly as 2 weeks. Typically not on a first dispute. Typically this is more of a second dispute or third dispute type of time frame. At that point, the furnisher will have hardened. It made their decision, and they're not going to change no matter how many disputes come in. And so you'll continue to get the same result no matter how many disputes you send to the furnisher. And this is another issue of parroting. You can send obviously inaccurate information, dispute obviously inaccurate information with the bureaus before the furnisher, and they just rely on what the furnisher says. So what do the dispute results mean? So you have your dispute results in hand, and the terminology used by the bureaus changes a little bit. But verified as accurate means that the information in your dispute did not change the bureau or the furnisher's decision or the report. The other results include deleted or updated. Now, just because you get deleted or updated doesn't mean that this is over. In fact, you need to be very careful. If you get one of these results, you should pull your credit report. When you get your results, you should pull your credit report from annualcreditreport.com. You can pull it once a week for free. Go there, pull your credit reports, and see if they agree with the dispute results. If they don't, there could be a problem. Now, if an account was removed or negative information was removed from your credit report, you're not out of the woods. Pull your credit report once a week for a month is a good idea. And after that, pull it once a month for several months. A big problem is reinsertion. See, a furnisher knows its time frames, and when they get a dispute in, sometimes they'll just say, okay, they'll agree to, okay, we'll clean this up. And maybe they realize it's inaccurate, and they clear it up, they delete it, or they update it, and they send that to the bureaus. Well, the next month, their billing department reports the same information to the bureaus, the old information. It doesn't go through the dispute department. It goes straight to the credit bureaus. So the information is reinserted on your credit report. Now, the bureaus are required to send you a notice of reinsertion before the information goes back onto your credit report. If they don't, then you can sue the credit bureaus. If they continue to repeat or reinsert inaccurate information, you may be able to sue the credit bureaus. So just because an information is deleted or corrected doesn't mean that's the end of the dispute process. Now, obviously, if inaccurate information is verified as accurate, you want to continue to take steps. And so what should you do if inaccurate information is verified as accurate? First place to look is at your old dispute. Go back to the old video and make sure you followed all the steps. Did you include a copy of your ID and of a current utility bill? A lot of disputes are rejected because they cannot identify you. That's a common problem. That's why it's important to list the attachments and evidence you're including with your letter. If your letter says, I'm including a copy of my current driver's license and a copy of the current utility bill, it'll be hard for them to say that they rejected your dispute because you didn't include that information. This still happens, but in a court of law, it's much harder for that excuse to stand up. Now, looking further at your dispute, did you include all the evidence you needed to? Did you include account statements, police reports, and copies of your old credit report with items marked on it? These are all important factors to consider when information was verified as accurate. Also, when your information is verified as accurate, the bureaus are required to put a note on your credit report. Take a look for that note on the account. Did they put a note? Is it a plain Jane simple thing that says account disputed, verified as accurate per FCRA? Or do they get some information about the dispute? Disputed as identity theft, disputed as a duplicate account. Those are the kinds of things we're looking for. More information on your credit report based on your dispute. Okay, folks. So we covered when to expect your dispute results, what to look for in them, and what to do if negative information is verified as accurate. In our next video, we're not going to cover your second dispute. We're going to cover applying for credit. Applying for credit is a key part of a Fair Credit Reporting Act case. In fact, courts have said that if you're not denied for credit, you may not even be able to bring a Fair Credit Reporting Act case. So we'll look at that more closely in the next video. But for now, hold on to those dispute results and don't give up. A study showed that 40% or more of consumers who dispute information on their credit report give up after their first dispute. Don't give up. Keep disputing. If you need help, give us a call. If you have any questions, put them in the comments down below. We're happy to answer your questions. We're happy to help you dispute negative and inaccurate information on your credit report. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up. Thank you.